My name's William Newbery and I'm one of the viola players in the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra. I'd like to share with you today one or two ideas for learning how to play a string instrument that might help you along your way. If you're taking lessons on a string instrument, you've probably discovered already that it's a labour of love and it takes time and patience, and you'll be getting some excellent tuition from your teacher who will be helping you along. But these ideas you can also combine and think about sometimes with that teaching. The first thing that I think it's very good to think about when you're playing a string instrument is that the movements that you are making are the music. You can have lots of wonderful ideas in your head and emotions about the music that you're playing, but none of them will make it to the instrument and come out of the instrument as you're playing it unless the actual physical movements that you're making also reflect and match those ideas. So you can think about, when the music is very active, your bow arm should also be very active, and allegro isn't just a tempo marking for how fast the music goes. Allegro is a character, and the character comes from the way that you move. So it's important in your music studies to think not only that music is a pursuit of the mind and of emotions, but it is also as much a sport. You have to train physical movements until they're very comfortable. If the movements that we make are the music with the instrument, I think it stands to reason that if those movements don't feel good, there's a good chance that the music won't sound as good as we want it to. So there are two things to try and think about when you're thinking about how you move with the instrument and the way that you move to make those sounds. And the first is, when we try to make those movements feel good, we want to be as relaxed as possible. We all know that when you're tense, even some small part of you is tense. If you ball your hand into a fist and keep your fingers tight, that feeling of tension can immediately spread to other parts of your body without you even knowing about it. So we want our movements to be as relaxed as possible. And one thing that I find helps is that one of the first places in the human body to get tense when we're worried about something or maybe nervous about our playing is our wrists and also our jaws. But when we're already playing and thinking about what we're doing with those wrists, I think it helps to try to immediately imagine that both of your wrists, your bow arm and your left hand, are relaxed. Feel them relax immediately and think of them almost as your guardians against tension, and that your wrists are completely relaxed and everything past your wrists, your hands and fingers, can also become very relaxed. And instead of that feeling of tension spreading, try to spread that feeling of relaxation, share it all through your body so that you can move easily and not be worried about your movements. And the other thing to try thinking about with your movements when you play the instrument is try to be efficient. Try not to make too many extra movements or too much movement. Only think about how you're playing the instrument, what it is that you want to achieve, and how can you, in a relaxed way, as gently as possible, make the correct movements, apply the forces to the instrument to get that result. And that idea, whatever it is that you're trying to play and whatever it is that you're practicing, can really help. Now, this idea is a little bit more applicable just to violin and viola players, but if you play the cello or the double bass, I think it's very interesting for you to think about how you might translate this idea to your instrument. Of course, it's got to do with the position of the instrument, the violin or the viola that we play with. Now, we've already explored this idea that it's good to be as relaxed as possible while playing the instrument. And one thing that it's very common to want to do, whether you're playing with a shoulder rest or without one, is that we want to try and sometimes hold the instrument with our neck and shoulder and completely have the arm free to move. Now, of course, what this means is we're using just the little muscles in our neck to take the weight of the instrument and putting ourselves into a position like this and not using the big muscles in our back that are much better at carrying weight. So one thing you can think about is trying to get a feeling of just taking a little bit of the weight in your left hand of the instrument so that the instrument is sitting on your shoulder or your collarbone and the weight is supported from underneath the instrument. And then this means you can try to develop a wonderful feeling of support from underneath and try to be very free above the instrument. We talked before about feeling that the wrists and hands can be very, very relaxed, and your head also. Try to make sure that you're not bending your neck and tensing your neck to take the weight of the instrument, but instead just balancing the instrument. And this gives us the possibility of a lot more freedom for playing. Now, to make a sound, a good sound, and particularly to be relaxed and yet be able to make a powerful and rich sound, one thing that it's very good to just experiment with a little bit is when you have that feeling of supporting the instrument from underneath, and we want to make good contact, good transfer of the movement of the bow into the string so that we feel the bow and the hair moving over the string and that our movements are efficient and are transferring that energy to the string. Instead of just thinking about bringing the bow down to the string and concentrating only on the weight of your arm and the application of the weight of the bow onto the string, you can share it out a little bit and also feel you're bringing the instrument up from underneath to make the string and the hair meet. This means you're sharing out that contact of the bow to the string, and it means you can be more relaxed and again more free to be expressive with your bow arm. And also, I think when you spread out that labor of bringing the contact together, and when your wrists are relaxed, feel it's your arms that very gently bring the bow and the string together, and that your wrists and fingers can still be very relaxed. You'll find that powerful playing, and I think it's easier to find a good strong sound. You need less force even to bring the bow to the string when you divide it between the arms, as opposed to when you only use one arm to try and bring that force to the string. At any rate, I think they're very interesting ideas for you yourself to have a look at and see if it works for you. Enjoy your practice.